Hi, I'm Sid Marsh, and welcome to Inside View. Today we're going to talk about real estate. And who better to talk to than Barry Ward from Barry Ward Realty. Barry, welcome.
Thanks, Sid. Good to see you.
So, let's talk realty about the county and also about the coronavirus. How has that changed real estate and deals and open houses and all that sort of thing?
It's actually changed everything. When COVID first came in March, and that was kind of the big time when it really started, we were basically told, initially we were told we were non-essential, and so we closed our office, and then we were essential about a week later because they had the title companies, the banks were essential, the mortgage companies. But they forgot about the realtors because the realtors kind of make all that kind of happen. So they go, better bring them back in.
Yeah.
But our offices remained closed for, I think, about 75 days. So in our business, we're pretty much all working remotely.
How do you do virtual real estate now?
Well, that's where Zoom came in. And when one of the first homes I sold to a client in the Bay Area, and he was in IT, and I said, well, what do you do? He goes, I work for a company called Zoom. And I go, well, what do they do? And he said, well, they do video conferencing. And I go, well, that's pretty good. And about 10 days later, all I saw was Zoom, because that's right where we went into was Zoom meetings. And but anyway,
so you talk to your clients through Zoom, that sort of thing too?
We did.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we had meetings through Zoom, and of course FaceTiming homes. The goal at the time was to reduce personal exposure as much as possible. So anything that you could do remotely, online, showing a home. The buyers had to sign a coronavirus addendum called a PED addendum, verifying that they hadn't been sick or had a fever in the last 14 days. They did not ride in our cars. We would meet them at the property. They only allowed two buyers and an agent in the house, so only 3 people in the house. Masks, sanitizing homes, social distancing, and that was the procedure. And as far as discussing an offer, again, you would go back to either a Zoom or a phone call. Our purchase agreements are all done online in the cloud. Send them out for e-signatures. Our transaction coordinations in the cloud. So all that's been done remotely. So that's really what accelerated a lot at the beginning of this whole
now has it loosened up?
No, not really. I mean, everyone's. There's been a lot of vaccinations now. They say half of adults have. I think I read today have received their second, as of Tuesday, their second shot. So I think that's starting to change things. But no, the rules, but how we follow today. If you're looking at property as a buyer, it's. To go out and for us to actually show property to a prospective buyer, it has to be essential. They have to be pre-approved. They have to sign the addendum.
No looky-loos.
And no looky-loos, because they figure if they're going to go into a seller's home, if people are going to get together, then it has to be for a purpose, and that purpose has to be essential. So that's kind of how they, our governor and California Association of Realtors, when they set the guidelines for, because at one point we could not really show property. And there was a period in our area for about 10 days where we really couldn't meet buyers at a house. Period.
You just have to take a virtual tour or something like that.
You had to.
Yeah.
And the Bay Area was shut down for a lot longer than that. I can't remember how many counties are in the Bay Area, but that whole area was shut down, and I think for a good 2 or 3 months where they could not physically take a buyer into a home, and it had to be done remotely.
But even though that happened, now it seems like the market has changed. Like COVID has changed our market and made houses very scarce, and there's bidding wars and things like that?
Well, when COVID first hit, we thought we were going to just see a very slow market, but that there was a lockdown in in our area. The primary source of buyers is from the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. But they kept calling, and after about a week, I think they realized we can't get on an airplane. We can't really go anywhere, and because restaurants were shut down where they were. So what do we do? And all of a sudden it's like, well, where can we drive to? And they started going online. And Calaveras County, I think, with our pricing, and even though we've had a good 20% increase, it's still cheap compared to other areas for the quality of life that you have here. They started just calling, and our market then just started accelerating. It was really, really amazing. And
was it our market or the nation in general?
Well, I think it's the nation in general.
Yeah.
I mean, right now they say the nation in general is 3 million. There's a 3 million housing shortage because of the lack of building since the Great Recession. They just haven't been building at the volume they did before.
Does Calaveras have a housing shortage?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. A market, we should have a 6 months inventory is a balanced market. Mm-hmm. And now we have less than 30 days.
Wow.
Yeah. I counted this morning from Dorrington to Arnold, there's 10 houses on the market in all price ranges. So when a buyer comes up and they say, well, we want to spend the day to see homes, if you narrow down their price range, there might be only 1 or 2 homes for them to see. So I let them know you don't really need to spend the day. You can maybe spend about an hour to see.
Are people keeping their homes more? I mean, is that why it's gone down?
No, I mean, 6 or 7 homes will come on our market in a week, but they're all gone. And typically the trend is you put them on the market on a Wednesday, you expose them through all the digital media, Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, the MLS, and then review offers on Monday. That's kind of the plan. You want to get it out there like on a Wednesday where people can see it. They come up on the weekend to look at the property. They see it online, then they come up to look at the property, and then submit offers by Monday. But then sometimes we get a buyer that just knocks it out of the park. They'll just say, we want it, and here's our number, and we'll give you 2 hours to decide.
And it's way over the
asking. And it's way over. and way over is 10 to 25% over list price.
Wow.
In 45 years of real estate, I've been through 4 recessions, boom bust. I've seen several really hot markets. I've never seen one with inventory this low and overbids the way they are. It's just amazing.
There's not a lot of competition. I mean, there's not a lot of houses on the market, that sort of thing. Yeah.
There isn't, and it's unfortunate where it does really knock out first-time buyers and buyers that have financing, maybe minimum down payments. They'll have, because you'll get a buyer that'll come in and just step up to the plate with all cash and just go way over. We can have a home with 7 offers, and you'll have 4 or 5 that are in the range. But then there'll be 2 that are just way up there. And of course, it's the seller's decision to decide, the home, the offers they want to accept. But
these are people coming from the Bay Area that are used to the higher dollars. And
they've been in this market.
Yeah.
And this is what they've been used to. They've for the past several years, they've had a market, really low inventory, again, with the lack of building, hard to develop in the Bay Area, and homes there. They would list them. They would do an open house, which, by the way, we can't do now. But back then they would do an open house. They'd have 20 offers come in, take maybe $1 million home that would go for 1.2, 1.3, and sometimes they would list it low, maybe $8.99 or something, just to get people to come to the door, and then it would go way over. So our market was never that way. Ours was, well, you list it at a price that was kind of comped out with the last 6 months sales, homes sold, and it would sell within our list to sales price ratio was 97%. So let's say a 3% discount. But that's no longer the case. We're now kind of like the Bay Area market. Our homes, we can list them. We can take a home that's between $400,000 and $450,000, list it for $429,000, and have it settle out at $550,000. That's kind of, especially if it's a Blue Lake Springs, the really nice clean chalet, what everybody's dreaming about. And
now, are these second homes, or are these families that are coming up here? I mean, what's the demographics of these people coming from the Bay Area?
It's both.
Yeah.
It's both, because they after COVID, they realized that 34% of people can work remotely. So we're getting families that are moving up here. Their kids are going to our schools. Or the kids Zoom with schools in the Bay Area. That's, again, where that Zoom comes in. They're able to work remotely, so as long as they have high-speed internet, which we have, in most of our county, they're able to come up here and work. We're getting the second home buyer, the vacation home buyer is just looking for an escape. They're looking for more space. They're in a high-density situation in the city. The millennials, they're starting to raise their children. They want to have their dogs and a single-family home rather than an apartment or a condo. And if you're in the Bay Area and you have a good income and you're like, geez, I don't have to be here anymore. The restaurants are closed. I can't go to the museums. What do I do? Well, I can go to Calaveras County. I can hike in the park. I can ride my bike. I can go skiing. Bear Valley didn't have the Vail resorts you had to make a reservation in advance to go skiing. Well, how do you reserve a powder day? How do you know you're going to get
the weather? Yes.
Bear Valley didn't have that. Their pass holders, they really catered to their pass holders, and you could just go right up there and start skiing. So we were very fortunate. We've had restaurants that have closed here, which is really and businesses, but that it's amazing how resilient a lot of them have been, and through takeout and outside dining, and it's like I said, it's been tough, but Calaveras County overall, I think, has fared really, really well for what we've been through with this COVID environment.
Yeah, the number of victims or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, do you see us on the rebound, or do you see it kind of going up now, or being flat?
Well, from a real estate standpoint, it's been strong all the way through. Our volume's up 55% over this past year. It's a huge, huge jump. Our prices are up 20% year over year. So.
Do you think real estate's carrying the county a little bit? The economy.
There's a lot of new blood in town, mm-hmm. and whether they're going to the markets or gas stations, Murphy's somehow just keeps going no matter what happens.
Without Irish days,
they stay open, and the cars are everywhere, and everybody seems to flock there. But I think the amount of extra, I have seen cabins occupied that I haven't seen occupied in years. And, it started out in, April or so, you would see a house that you hadn't seen in a long time, and you see all the windows, all the drapers would be pulled, but you see a little smoke coming out of the chimney. And you knew someone was up. Maybe they were just quarantining, or just getting away.
Did a lot of people from the Bay Area come when they had to quarantine? They came up here to their cabins, that sort of thing?
I don't know.
You didn't see
I don't know, but I think there was a lot that just didn't want to be around people.
Yeah.
So maybe they just wanted to come up to their cabin and get away. They didn't feel comfortable in the Bay Area. They weren't working, maybe. They just wanted. So it's really, really hard to say. Our COVID rates have been pretty low here. You would think with all the people that come here from outside that there would have been more, but I know our District 3 has stayed pretty darn low through this whole process.
How about high tech and high speed access and that sort of thing? Has Highway 4 got a good speed for their for the internet, that sort of thing? I know there was problems before.
Well, I think at our office we have a Comcast. We have a 200 meg line, which serves us well. I have a backup DSL, which I think runs at a lower rate. It's probably around 30. But most of the homes, I think, you pay extra for a really fast line, but
right.
For streaming and what most the bandwidth that most workers would need, I think we have. Now, if you're off in like there's areas of Murphy's. Once you get out into Murphy's Ranch area, you'd have to do a satellite type situation, which would probably be good for download speeds, but not for upload speeds. So again, it depends what you're doing. If you're a graphic artist or something, that'd probably be really tough. So it really just depends. But if you're in the core of Murphy's or Dorrington, Big Trees Village, all throughout Arnold, the 8 square mile area of Arnold, it has cable throughout. So we did notice with everybody here, you would see slow periods because they're all Zooming, they're all connected. So sometimes you'd see the internet at certain times, trickle, but for the most part, it's been pretty good.
Oh. How about land? Do you do much raw land?
We do.
Yeah, and has that seen any?
Well, land sales is still pretty flat. Home sales are off the charts. And the reason why land sales is still pretty flat is homes have still been selling well below replacement cost. Although that's starting to change. We're starting to approach replacement cost now, going over $300 a square foot.
So that's how much it would take to rebuild the home as is, that kind of thing?
Yeah, the quotes we're getting from builders now are in that $325, $350 range. And if you're doing something really custom, of course, it's just whatever your costs are. Lumber's doubled in the last year or so. Materials are way up. Labor definitely is not going down. There's not a lot of new contractors coming in. A lot of the old contractors that have been here for years are retiring.
So housing starts are down pretty much in the county? Or?
Well, I don't think we have the manpower really to. I have not tracked housing starts, so I can't really comment on that. But I can just tell you, there's a real lack of building. If you just drive around, there's very few homes being built, and mainly because it's the most expensive option, and it can take time. If you're going to build a house, usually it's 6 months for plans, and it's going to take. A lot of these builders are booked for a year. So I usually tell a buyer, I said, building is a good option, but you won't have Thanksgiving dinner for 2 years. By the time you go through the process. If you get lucky, if you're buying a spec home, but there's very few specs, but that would be a quick way to get into new construction. Builder already knows what he's building. He's just going to get it done. There's not going to be a lot of change orders, so it'll go a lot faster. He has his plans in place, financing or cash in place, so that'll go quicker. But
do you see any subdivisions on the horizon?
No, because again, the cost to develop and sell land. There's a subdivision in Murphy's over there on the creek.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we've sold a couple lots in there.
Vacant for a long, long time.
It has, but we've recently sold a couple lots in there for right around $200,000 each. But they're right there on the creek. Great location.
Are they going to be townhomes or single-family units?
They're single-family lots.
Oh, okay.
They're, I think, a quarter to a third of an acre in size, and you can walk right to the town. You have the creek right there and again, that's probably the top of the market for lots. If you go up to Arnold, lots that we're selling at the peak of the market in 2007 for $200,000 are selling for $50,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, why do you think that happened?
Lack of demand. Lack of demand.
Supply and demand, right?
It's just supply and demand. But as when you get down to, like I said, 10 homes, and you want to move here, and you're selling a Bay Area home maybe for $1.5 million, and you can buy a lot for $50,000 or even $100,000, or Murphy's for $200,000, and you're building a 2,500, let's say a 2,000 square foot house at $300 a foot or $350 a foot. You're looking in that $750 range, and still under where you were before. So, but again, you have to find the manpower. You have to find the contractor that can build it for you. So we have good contractors in the county. We have some excellent high quality craftsman builders, but they're busy. They're busy, so you have to kind of get in line.
Now, do you see this influx of this money coming in from the Bay Area? Does that hurt the people, the citizens of Calaveras that say aren't as well off? I mean, they're kind of jacking up the prices a little bit.
It does, and that's very unfortunate. And what it's done too is it really pushed up rents. It's really, and the other thing that's really put a damper on rentals is Airbnbs, because a lot of the homes that would have been rentals are now Airbnbs.
Oh, I
and
see,
so it takes that off the market. So yes, you get someone that housing goes up, they can't afford to purchase. They have to rent, and then those rentals are being converted to Airbnbs, and they're like, or maybe the sellers, maybe the owners of the house they rent see what the market's done, they decide they want to sell, and then where does that tenant go? That's tough. It's tough if you're trying to find a rental right now. It's really, and that's probably one of the big impacts that has hurt locals, that they get priced out of the market, and then they get pushed out of their rental, and then they have to go out and try to find something.
Or they have to leave the county.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate, because that's the mainstay. The people that work here, that support, whether it's the market, the restaurants, the gas stations, the Bear Valley, whatever it's, and the contractors and their workforce. I mean, that's really.
It's hard to find good help.
But it's the core of the community.
Right.
And I don't know the answer to that, because we don't make prices go up. It's buyers. It's demand. It's always been demand. And when the demand's there and prices get pushed up, it's just one of those. It's like I said, I don't really know the answer to resolving that.
Do you think more rentals, more apartments, that sort of thing, would be a help to our economy? That can't be spun off as Airbnbs and that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, I don't know about the apartments because of the high density thing we were just talking about. People want more space now. If there were subdivisions, I guess you could talk about affordable housing going along with that. But the thing is, we don't really have new subdivisions coming. We have existing ones.
They can be built out.
But there's still lots in Meadowmont, Blue Lake Springs. There's Cedar Ridge was probably a more recent one. There's lots kind of custom homes there. Big Trees Village still has lots. I mean, we still have lots. But I don't know how you would create, more affordable housing without having a subdivision to approve where you could require that. That's what the limitations are. So,
what is the hottest area? The area you cover. What is the where is most houses sold?
Well, Blue Lake Springs has always been the gold standard because of the recreation there, the HOA. There's 2 lakes, and there's Snowflake Lodge. Mm-hmm. You have Sequoia Woods Country Club. It's a private club that's with it, so anybody can belong. It's private. You have to pay to belong to it, but
there's a lot of amenities in the area.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And because of that, that's always been number one. Big Trees Village caters to. It's the last plowed subdivision as you head towards east to Bear Valley. So if you want to be a little higher altitude, a little bit more of a secluded feel, more peaceful feel, it just depends. Blue Lake Springs is more social. If you want that more social atmosphere and the recreational aspect, Big Trees is more like their rec center up there, which is private, by the way. It's more of a summer camp type feel. So if you want that, and you're going to do a lot of hiking, and you're going to ski, and you just want more of a remote feel, then that you cater to that. Lakemont Pines has always been very, very popular. very few homes. Even during the Great Recession, there was very little inventory. The turnover is really low in Lakemont. They really hang on to their homes. But that's again Pinebrook. Pinebrook has a nice. They've done some really nice upgrades there.
Is there one area that would be a good investment that maybe on the downside right now, but you see it's going to grow and maybe you put your money there, that kind of thing?
We don't have much downside in our area. There's not like the wrong side of the tracks.
Okay.
It's pretty much, you have Lilac Park, which is an older area. It's on the south side of the road, so it doesn't get a lot of sun. And so it's a little icier in there. And so you get a better value there because the homes are older, but they don't appreciate as well as they would in Blue Lake Springs or Big Trees Village. So if Meadowmont doesn't have a homeowners association, so if you don't want to belong to an HOA, a lot of retirees don't want to pay the dues. Meadowmont's a great option. You're close to town. They're all good. What I like about Arnold, there's something for everyone. If you want to be in a community where there's just 4 floor plans and you have a lot of continuity, Mill Woods is a nice option. But a lot of times we show Mill Woods and they go, oh no, we don't want this feel. This reminds us of where we are in the Bay Area. We want so that you take them to Blue Lake Springs. Yeah, that's it. That's what we want. And so it's
so there's
really
something for everyone out there.
There is. If you want a lake, big lake, you don't care about tennis courts, Lakemont's wonderful. Pinebrook has a great little sense of community. Dale Pilgrim he's done a great job doing upgrades, and over the years, not just him and the whole board there,
right.
But he's spearheaded a lot of it, and he's done a really nice job with. We were down there the other day, and it just looks like a little. I mean, just all the upgrades that they've done, from a children's playground to restrooms now, and by the lake, and horseshoe pits, and.
Now, how many subdivisions are there in Arnold? I heard there's like 7, and each one had about 1,000 houses. So you think about 7,000 houses.
Well, I don't know exactly how many there are in Arnold, but Blue Lake Springs, for example, has 2,000 lots, and there's about 1,750 homes. So you're looking at. You have what 250 lots maybe left there, but a lot of those are owned by adjacent property owners.
Oh, okay.
For privacy.
For development, yeah.
For development. Right. So on the market right now, I'm just guessing there might be 10 for sale. So,
We've just run out of time. I want to thank you for being here with us. I'm Sid Marsh, and we'll see you next time on Inside View.